G'day guys and welcome to My Blue Heaven, and this is the preview for our game against the Fremantle Dockers at Marvel Stadium Saturday afternoon 1:45. Good time slot that on a Saturday arvo under the roof. Could be important for us. It could be. We don't know. Do you ever feel like you don't belong? You just don't belong somewhere? I don't know why I'm going to use this analogy, but, you get invited to a wedding, a relatively big wedding, maybe 150 to 200 guests, and you're at the reception and you're on that table right down the back, and you don't know anyone on your table, and all the other people on the table, they don't know anyone either. All the big players, they're all at the front, the family and friends and the extended family and they're the big players. And you're stuck down that back and you just feel like, wow, like this. I was probably in the just lucky really to make the cut to this wedding. I'm a work colleague. I've got to know them at work and they probably felt like they needed to invite me to this wedding. You spend the whole night sort of just with small talk to the people on the table you don't know. And finally, around about 11:45, when it's just about done and dusted and the bride and groom are just about to piss off to the hotel or wherever they're going to go, they finally catch up for a small chat for about 5 minutes, shake your hand, whatever that may be. And it just feels a little bit awkward. I don't know. I just get the impression that that's us at the moment as a football team. And I know internally they won't see it that way. They won't see it like going to a wedding that you don't feel like you should be there. But what I'm trying to say here is I just get the impression the way we're playing, and I know we have our concerns in regards to injury. I know that. I just feel like we're just not at our best, and I feel like the pressure's starting to build, and we just don't feel like we belong at the moment inside that top 8. And I know we're 5th. And I know we've got the runs on the board and we deserve to be there based on that. But we got some bloody big games coming up in the next month or so. And we haven't played the big boys yet. We really haven't played the big boys yet. And until we really play the big boys, and that starts this Saturday against Fremantle, who I think really do belong, and I think they know they should be there. They had those magnificent 2 wins, back-to-back wins after a bit of a down period. Where they got beaten by Collingwood and the Gold Coast Suns in difficult conditions, which didn't suit them. But they'll have to deal with that. They then came out and they smacked Melbourne, and then, they won pretty comprehensively in the end over Brisbane, the 2 top teams in the competition. And they now are genuine. Well, they feel like they are genuine contenders. I don't know. We've had some good wins this year. Don't get me wrong. It took me a long time to get on board, and then we had that win against the Giants over there. But you just feel like we're still just a little bit short of what it is required to be a big player this season. And it almost also feels like we're just waiting to get players back. I don't know. And this is going to be hopefully not a really, really bad afternoon for us on Saturday, because I want this to be the game that wakes us up, that really wakes us up. And as supporters, and I get the sense that our supporters are feeling the same way at the moment. And I did put a question out on Twitter last night, asking for predictions for this game, just a brief little snapshot of how our fans see this game panning out. And I must thank, it was absolutely overwhelming. I've got so many of them here, which I'll go through them shortly. And they're not great in regards to the way Carlton supporters are feeling at the moment. This is a team, this is uncharted territory for us, being inside the top 8. But, I don't know. We've got Fremantle, which we need to concentrate on Saturday. Then we tackle the Saints, which will be a big game. They're not big players at the moment, but will be a big game. And then the one against Geelong, after a tricky game where we have to go west. If we can at least nab one of those out of Fremantle and Geelong, I think we feel like Okay, I think we feel like we will belong. But until we do that, there's going to be a lot of question marks still on us. And I think we are capable. I think we are capable. I still think we have the armory at our disposal to give it a shake, even without the likes of Wiedering and Pitnet out and Chera. They're the big three, really, when we think about it. They're the big three that can really straighten us up, particularly Pitnet and Wiedering. But we can't be just waiting and waiting and waiting. We need to do some damage now, and we need to believe that we can win this game of football against Fremantle on Saturday. So do we belong? Or do we think we are just right here, right now, making up the numbers and this season is just going to drift away really quickly? The doubt's creeping in. Are we in the mentality mode of just waiting for those troops to arrive back? Because I truly believe Fremantle believe they should be there and they travel well. And they've got their own injury concerns as well. Let's not just think it's just us. They've had some obstacles they've needed to, imagine if we didn't have Patrick Cripps at our disposal for the first half of the season, just like the Dockers haven't had Nathan Fyfe. Okay, they lose Blake Acres, who's had a tremendous season on the wing, one of the most improved players in the competition. So those two wingers they had when they smashed us, okay, earlier on in the year, Nathan O'Driscoll and Blake Acres, they're not there. And they were damaging, okay, in the early part of the season, and Blake Acres has been super consistent. They lose Sam Switkowski, who's a real barometer for them in their front half. Not only kicks goals, but his pressure is elite. There's no Heath Chapman, who's a fine young defender, intercept defender, and he's been replaced by Ethan Hughes. They prefer Heath Chapman to be playing. And there's doubts, okay, on the availability of Luke Ryan, okay, who's got the flu. And will he travel the 3.5 hours on the plane, okay, for such a big game? So they've got their problems as well, and there's question marks on whether Matt Taberner, who's their preferred key forward, whether he's got enough games under his belt. He's had the one game in the Waffle, kicked 3 goals too. And there's question marks whether he'll come back in or they'll give him another week at the lower level. Okay, so it's not just us. All right, but it just feels like they are just a little bit more well-drilled across the board. All right, and you have a look, okay, at their statistics this year and where they really have exploded, the Fremantle Dockers, and why they would see themselves as significant contenders this year. And the season is wide open. All right, so there's 3 key stats here. All right, so their score per inside 50 against, okay, has gone through the roof. They are now ranked number 1 in the competition. Okay, last year they were ranked number 16. All right, we know how good they are from score from turnover. Last year, okay, they were ranked number 18 in the competition. This year they're ranked number 3. So they really, really do hurt the opposition, okay, if you turn the ball over, particularly by foot. And their pressure factor, which I think we, okay, at certain times this year really prided ourselves on, but I think has dropped significantly away over the last, say, 3 or 4 weeks. Okay, they are ranked number 1 in the competition, all right? Last year, they were ranked number 17. So they're big 3 statistics, okay, that could and maybe will hurt us on Saturday because we are a high possession football team. We really are. We've become a really high possession football team. And right here, right now, I reckon a lot of our disposals, particularly through that midfield, because you look at Cripps, you look at Welsh, you look at Hewitt, and they're winning a mountain of the pill. But are they effective right here, right now? Where you would have to say no, given the fact that last week we're absolutely smashed inside 50s. So are they junk at the moment? And our pressure has been down. Very nice balanced football team. Through the midfield, okay, Darcy, Lobb, okay, up against TDK and Jack Silvani. They seem to have the edge there, particularly with Darcy. I think he's ranked number 3 in the competition, okay, for hit-outs to advantage. He can go forward. He can kick goals. He is strong. He has played well against us in the past. I think he may have been concussed the last time he played when Pitnet went out. Brayshaw is tracking as one of the, probably the number one midfielder in the competition. He can do everything. Sarong, young, tough, uses the ball well. The age of Mundy is important, experience. And Brodie, we spoke about Blake Acres before as being one of the most important, improved players in the competition. Well, this bloke is a beast, okay? Wins the ball, wins the clearances. Last week we were smashed in clearances. I mentioned in my review that Dion Prestia had 13 clearances. Our best was 5, okay? Will we be looking at Will Brodie, okay, come 5 o'clock or 4:30 on Saturday and look at Will Brodie, he's had 10 plus clearances. That will be significant. Let's not forget Nathan Fyfe back into the team. We'll spend a fair part forward, but will go into the midfield. All right, we've got Cripps, Welsh, Hewitt, Kennedy. Kennedy down, Hewitt, Welsh, Cripps, not as effective as they should be. No Chera. All right, so are we one short? Were we one short last week? We're just going to have to wait and see. Is playing Zach Fisher, rolling Zach Fisher up through the ball, is that just enough? Probably not. Although I'd probably like to see a few more different looks, okay, at the centre square. And can Fish provide us with a little bit more spark? Because I feel the combination, particularly of Cripps, Hewitt, okay, and Kennedy, at times is a little bit flat-footed. And we know Brayshaw and Sarong, okay, they're not flat-footed. All right, so do we roll the dice? Do we roll the dice and bring one of either Dow, Hayes, Setterfield, Carroll or Fogarty into this team? We're just going to have to wait and see on that. Their forwards, okay, I wouldn't call it dynamic, but it's bloody dangerous, given the fact that we were so... we did cough up so many inside 50s last week, and the forwards under the roof are going to have a better opportunity to clunk that ball. So their bigs, okay, does Taberner play? Lob killed us last time we played them. They've been playing Griffin Logue down there while Matt Taberner's out. So I would think if Taberner comes in, Logue will probably go out. Darcy can go down there. So they're their bigs. So they'll probably have 2 bigs at any one time down there. So it's a big, big job for Brody Kemp. He will come in. So who does he play on? All right, who does he play on? Say, for example, they've got, say, Lob and one of either Logue or Taberner forward. It's a big, big ask. It's a big ask. And their dangers this week, I think, will be in their mediums. Obviously, their smalls are very good, but they lose Swiskowski. They've got Banfield, Walters, Schultz and Collier. And we remember the last time Schultz, he was the one that got them going with 3 goals. Do they bring Liam Henry in, whose form in the Waffle's been really good? He's fast, he's electric. He just gives them a little bit more sort of dynamism, is that a word, up forward. The one, and he had a putrid game against us. I can't even remember who played on him, was Michael Frederick. Now, Frederick, he's just come, well, he will play. So it's been announced pretty much that he will play. He's coming off a 1-match ban or sanction, club-imposed sanction for getting on the piss on a 6-day break in between games. So he comes in and he's fast and he's electric. And if we've got Nate Fyfe down there as well, that's a bloody handful. That's a bloody handful. So what do we do? I'm not quite sure. How creative does Michael Voss and the coaching committee get to try and stop that? But at the end of the day, if it comes up to the midfielders, and I think Cripps mentioned in an interview yesterday that they need to apply some more pressure around the ball, which they've dropped away. They've dropped away in that area over the last month or so. And their defence is one of the best in the competition. You know, I hope they lose Luke Bryan. I really do. I really rate him. But Brennan Cox is the one. He's the one with the intercept grabs. You know, Ethan Hughes has done a good job in the replacement of Heath Chapman. Alex Pearce provides the lockdown. He'll probably get Harry. And then they've just got some really good running half back flankers. Clark's come across from Geelong, wins a mountain of the pill. got some terrific speed, can go up into a wing. Hayden Young and Brandon Walker, who've got some electric pace, and we know what. Oh, Hayden Young actually missed the last time we played them because of COVID. He's a very, very good young footballer. They lose Akers on that wing, as I mentioned. So who do they play there? Do we have an advantage? There's not many times that we would say we might have an advantage on the wings. Now that Akers and also Nathan O'Driscoll's there, is that Darcy Tucker and maybe Michael Aish? We often underrate these players. I would think Aish has had a really good season. He's very flexible. Opportunity for Cottrell and O'Brien to have significant impacts on this game. Let's go through some of these responses from our supporters. Wilson says, I'm getting vibes of that fateful day when we were about 70 points down at half-time after getting monstered by them. While I don't expect that type of margin, I fear our biggest loss for the season will eventuate. Something has to give eventually. I hope it's just post-traumatic syndrome and we have a day out ourselves. Jeff O'Day is critical of our midfield. He says the season is a slog in our form of ebbs and flows at different times. Our mids form over the last few weeks has been very ordinary. So hopefully this week it flows back in our way and we dictate the stoppages. Very important. FDR, he likes us at Marvel. We do have a good record at Marvel this season. That used to be a ground that we really did fear. Harry and Charlie need to separate better. Good point. Mids will be better. And I reckon Dow or Setter's in for the Chera role. This should have happened last week. Their tall's a risk with only really young down there. SD Benny, our midfield needs to lift. Coaches need to run more players through there. I think we need to bring in another midfielder. Freo midfield really worries me, and their speed worries me as well. They are quick. CJ, not only a season-defining game, but a season-defining round with plenty of the top 8 playing against each other. Will be tough to win, as I think we have dropped off slightly. Tend to agree with that, as well as our injury issues. We got Gareth. Last time we got outplayed in the contest after Pitto went down. Must remember, though, that Darcy also went down with concussion. If we stop Darcy in their mids, I reckon we're a strong chance, despite our depleted backline. And hoping that Tabernar will be out. AJ going to make the trip over from Canberra. I'm pretty sure that AJ is from Canberra. He's going to make the trip across. Rio have been playing really well in the state, and I wonder if we're getting tired. It's a good point, but we did have the bye. They're coming off the bye as well themselves. Maybe I'm just negative because I'm heading to Melbourne and would really like a win. If it's the only game I get to see this year, good luck, mate. Shane says we're just been going in the midfield of late, and if we can't restore that dominance pronto, then this could be the one that blows out. Mish and Private Chica. Win clearances win the game. Capitalise on our opportunities. Critical set shots must go through the big white ones. Gobsmacked. Smashed in the middle of this again as we have no speed without Chera. Good point. Our defence will be overwhelmed. I feel like our first huge loss for the season is coming our way and a big score against. JC need two smaller forwards to lift their intensity. So Durden, Fisher, Owies, ball coming out too quick from our back half. Our forward 50, resulting in huge inside 50s. It's a really good point for the opposition. Jamie 54, off the bye, we just may catch Fremantle. Off guard a little bit. Really good point. Hopefully that's the case. They've also got to travel. Pretty professional outfit, Fremantle though. DC Mead, our mids to respond. Vossi would have got stuck into him. We hope so. Conceded 76 inside 50s. He really is concerned about Brayshaw. Reckons Hewitt should go to Brayshaw. I reckon that's a pretty good point. I reckon TDK was good around the ground in round 6, but back at Marvel, he reckons the Blues to win and Big H to kick 7. Tim Wilson, or Tim W, I'm not quite sure whether it is Wilson, and midfield will be prolific, but the pressure of Freo, okay, that real press, they're really in your face, a little bit like Richmond last week, will cause rush kicks into our forward 50. Their defence will feast on this and transition to their forwards. without much interference. Okay, really good point. The LMC will be handy if Taberner is out. Otherwise, they will stretch our back line, expecting a close game. It's a bigger game for us than it is for them. That's an interesting point. Slim Jim, not confident. If we had a seasoned ruckman, another tall defender or two, I might have been a little bit more confident. If we somehow manage to win it, would be amazing. And then I would be expecting finals. Peter Carrick, really not sure. I'm expecting a response from our boys. However, if our midfield gets done like it has in the past 3 weeks, we will get creamed. Big positive is Fremantle coming up the bye. MBH 72, Blues midfield to bounce back and dominate Freo. Harry to kick 4 and Charlie to kick 5. Blues by 5 goals. That's a big margin. I hope so. Luke Amarov, our mids to respond. Baggers by 15. Josh Kaplan, Freo by 23 points. We make a late rally to get within 2 goals. And we challenge them. But Dockers inside and outside midfielders too strong. Michael Barlow, okay, the former Fremantle star, says Pavlich to kick 8. Sanderlands to record 85 hitouts. And Mzungu to tag Sam Walsh. Trevor Mitchell, don't like saying 1 or 2 players will make the difference in the outcome of a game. But I honestly think the Lob v Young matchup is incredibly important. Whoever comes out on top will go a long way to winning this game. Michael Manzi, honestly, I think 5 to 6 goal win for Fremantle based on midfield strength. Brody Marston, quietly confident. Charlie to get off the lease with Pearce focusing on Harry. Okay, good point. Darren Smith, we need to win clearances, like 10 to 40% to give our backline relief. I'm more worried about their small forwards than their talls. We do well in clearances. We win. Tim, Freo lead most of the game when we come back in the 4th to win by 8 points. That would be exciting. Andrew Shaw, this is probably our worst matchup for the second half of the year because Freo can be super quick through the middle, particularly on that hard deck at Marvel Stadium. Andrew thinks this one will be really, really hard to watch. Wrath, like most of our losses, we don't trail by more than 18 points at any break, but our system isn't tight enough at the moment to strangle the opposition. We have Mark Osrich. Blues start well. Fremantle level things at half-time. Dockers midfield pace and half-back transition game hurts the Blues in quarter 3. 3rd quarter. Stalemate in the 4th with Fremantle winning by 4 to 5 goals. Jimmy Faz. Thanks, Jimmy. Freo are one of the best teams at getting the ball inside 50. They are almost best midfield in the comp, in my opinion. I don't think you're far off the mark there, mate. And also one of the best teams at not just limiting entries, but limiting good looks inside forward 50. It's a really good point there. Pressure up the field is elite. Even at full strength, this would be a tough one. Freo are legit. But Big Jimmy Faz is still picking us by 15 points. Work that one out. Thank you, Jimmy. Giordano Bruno, depends on our inclusions. News has played 1 good game. I don't know about that. Maybe 2. Martin is not contributing. So that's 2 players down. Simply cannot afford that. Can't carry passengers. Durden rotates through the mid. Honey comes in. Stocker back. We have a shot. Selection table, we win or lose. That's going to be important. Do we bring in Honey for Martin? Do we bring in another midfielder? Finish off with Dub D and Peter Shatwick. Peter says, going on our last 3 games, I don't have much confidence, to be honest. Freo go in tall and dominate the air. We'll need a massive effort from everyone and a whole lot of luck. It will be a win for the ages if we do get up, but I'm just not feeling it. Freo by 25 points. And Dub D, Freo don't score heavily but defend well, according to the points for and against anyway. He says he's only seen them once against us this year. I think the guys, he seems to think that this will play more into our hands and our current strengths. And Dub D is giving us the win. Let's hope so. Speak soon, guys.